Hi, I'm Kayleen Soschuk. I go to Elmira College and I'm a nursing major. As part of my photography class, we visited the George Waters Gallery and we seen a screenplay with a bunch of photos on it. I feel like seeing these pictures will have an influence on how I take my photos in the future because it gave me the knowledge that I should have a purpose when taking each photo, and also that I should try to be more aware of my surroundings in detail rather than just the broad area. I never really thought about the pictures I took for my photography class until I seen these images, and now I realized how much meaning is really in each photo that somebody takes. Some of my favorite photos in this bunch were taken by Ranina Matar in Lebanon, which she called Ordinary Lives. One image in this bunch had a little girl with her arms open and her mother in the background, which seemed to look very destroyed. I think that it's very inspiring to see that even in such a torn down community, the individuals are clearly still there and want to help with anything that they possibly can. Another one of the photos was taken by the photographer Mohammed Salam. It is a picture of a young man who appears to be jumping sideways or doing a flip in the air and holding up two fingers to resemble a peace sign. I think that this shows that even in rough times and areas, individuals find the time and place to have fun.
Hi, I'm Sierra Marino. I'm responding to the Iranian Living Room series, and I just thought it was really moving how unaware the subject seemed that there was a camera present, especially today. For me, that seemed interesting because everyone seems hyper aware of themselves, and I feel like the pictures were just kind of more raw, and it caught them in these intimate moments, and they were aware that the camera was there, but they didn't really care and let it affect what they were doing. So there was one I really liked where this man was sitting on the couch and he was like watching TV, and then there was like a shelf maybe, and the camera was like behind the TV and shelf, and the man was framed in between the two, and the picture was just of him watching TV, just hanging out, and that was one of the ones that I thought was interesting. And then there was another one of a female like around my age sitting on the floor, and she was smoking, and she was just surrounded by this cloud of smoke, and she was like kind of looking at the camera but not really, and those two were the two that I was referencing specifically.
When I saw the show, when I saw the pictures, it was just beautiful, and the different series, just the difference in what they captured and the culture was just really nice to see. It's beautiful. There was one series where there were women covered and their faces were replaced with household supplies, and just them being stripped of their identities and replaced with what they should be doing was just crazy. It was powerful.
I think I was really struck by the range of subject matter. I mean, the compositions and the formal stuff from the painting or from the photographs were really pleasing to look at and pleasant. But the subject matter, the range, I think is surprising because typically what we think of in America from that region and what we're exposed to paints a completely different picture. That we see the tragedies, the sort of horrific state of humanity, and that seems to be what we see predominantly in our media. And so having these subjects presented in a beautiful way was really satisfying, I guess, or relieving or uplifting, or I don't know, but I really enjoyed looking at them all.
Hi, my name is Zoe Price and I work here at the gallery. I'm from New Jersey. Whenever I first saw some of the photo series here, I was captivated by them because they showed like so many different ways of like showing cultures outside of the U.S. And I thought that was really interesting, especially the photo series right now that I'm next to with the household items and the covered woman, because it shows like, I don't know, it's interesting. It like shows like political matters in a really beautiful way, and I don't know, it's interesting. I love it.
I've traveled, but I've never been fortunate enough to go to the Middle East, and I think it's really important for you to like submerge yourself in different cultures. That way you're either more aware of what you have, or you're just a more learned individual that way. And I thought these pictures were especially interesting, especially contrasting the way we live here in America. It's not, I mean, there are some similarities, but then looking at them, like, we don't really just smoke recreationally here. That's not a big thing anymore. And like just the objects within the rooms and the way they were set up was interesting to look at, because it's a lot different here.
Well, I think what caught my attention and why I chose to stand and watch a lot of this really was just the realization of the power of the news media. You know, the idea that this thought that you have, this kind of preconceived notion that you have of what you expect when you're going to see photos of the Middle East, and that really is driven by the news media. So the photos that I saw really didn't match that description at all, and so that kind of captivated me to keep on watching. I think you think of unrest in the Middle East, in part that's what we saw, but really what we saw was more to do with artists honing their craft, friends, family, flashes of feminism. We saw children playing in kind of desolate landscapes.
I like how, I don't know, it's more humanizing, because you don't really see this side of it, like you were saying.
Sure.
It's like, this is normal stuff. We do this. I go get my nails
Sure,
done all the time with
exactly,
my friends. I just
exactly.
hang out, but like, you don't really expect that other people from other cultures are so closely related to you. And I guess it's interesting to see these moments where it's just like, we're all people, we all do
Sure.
the same stuff.
Well, I think you expected, my thought, I think initially, was this idea of just being unidimensional, that we'd have a reflection of what we know of in the news, and really that's certainly not the point of this exhibit at all, which I think is, once again, refreshing.